In 2014, we walked the Camino with 3 couples. In 2016, only 2 couples walked the Camino Portuguese. In 2017, due to injuries, there's only me and my wife who walked from France to Spain. Some would argue that you cannot walk with your spouse as there will be a lot of friction that can start a fire. We don't believe that, but you have to watch to see if that's true. This Camino video might be a little bit different than other Camino videos as we consider it as a pilgrimage, not just as a hiking trail. We have really beautiful hiking trails back home, but Camino is so much more than hiking. We will also include a Camino primer series that we think is important for future pilgrims, or even current pilgrims. We will have a topic for every day that we are walking the Camino that we think will be helpful for you, or for everyone, somehow. When you travel abroad, and in our case, in the Camino, sometimes you have that sixth sense in the people that you meet, and know somehow that who is your countryman among them. This very short day is one of them. However, this time, the I can spot an American a mile away applies. Let me tell you a story of this stage. Vamos!
Viana. The only other place I can get some water is San Sol. San Sol, which is probably the only stop we have between here and Viana. So we're gonna have breakfast there. It's a beautiful, like a medieval town.
What really is our view of backpack transporters?
So this is a really small town. It's beautiful. It's perched on a hill with that side and this side. I don't know what that side is, but it's beautiful. So we're going that way out of nowhere. Alright, may God bless us. This place was created by the Knights Templar. It's very old, like the 12th century. There's a lot of architectural gems. One of the most beautiful in the whole Camino route, Frances. It's created to defend the place against the Moors in the 12th century. So it's extremely big, very small. This olives, beautiful. There are lots of this in the Camino. Is just outside San Sol and Torres del Rio, all the way to Viana. Story goes there was a statue of the Virgin Mary that appeared here and could not be moved, so they decided to put a hermitage here. So this is it. It's beautiful. It's a small town, but it looks beautiful. It's surrounded by vineyards and vineyards and vineyards.
Leaving Los Arcos early in the morning introduces us to more vineyards, and we're not complaining as the vineyards were gorgeous. When we got to our albergue in Viana before noon, the albergue was still closed. When the hospitalera arrived, we detected a different Spanish accent. She was an American. We were so happy at first. However, we quickly found a familiar, very tiny, tangy attitude, just a little bit, for which my wife reciprocated a dose of her own medicine. Welcome home.
Our bag just arrived like seconds before we did. So that's where we're gonna stay. That's where we came from. Here 2 minutes before the albergue opens. So we got here at 11:08 and we got here at 12. So believe it or not, it's not always gonna happen that we're gonna get here before any albergue opens. Pretty amazing. It's pretty cool.
We were getting comfortable every day for not having any weight on our back. We had a backpack transporter company take it from one albergue to another for, I believe, it's about €3 to €5. Today, it gave us a different perspective. We got to albergue in Viana before noon, but our backpacks are not there yet. We realize our daily distances is dictated by where our backpacks is sent. So if we were so tired and we're still miles away from where our backpacks should be, we don't have a choice but to continue walking or take a taxi if we can find one. On the flip side, just like today, our legs were still relatively fresh and can easily walk at least another 5 miles. We would have that choice, but we can't because we go where our backpacks go. Basta. On a different perspective, our backpacks can symbolize baggages in our lives. One of the more popular reasons of walking the Camino has something to do with baggages. It may be in a form of something much deeper, but by carrying our backpacks, we acknowledge those baggages, and most often than not, we acknowledge that the only reason why we are able to carry them in long distances, far beyond what we thought we could carry them, is because of God's grace and nothing else. Pilgrimage is a symbol of life. It makes us think of life as walking, as a path. If a person does not walk but instead stays still, this is not useful. It accomplishes nothing. Think of water. When water is not in the river, it does not course, but instead it remains still and stagnates. A soul that does not walk in life doing good, doing many things that one must do for society, to assist others, or who does not walk through life seeking God and inspiration from the Holy Spirit, is a soul that finishes in mediocrity and in spiritual poverty. Please do not stand still in life. Pope Francis. Rioja is a popular Spanish wine, and today we're gonna walk in the province of Rioja, where it comes from. Logroño is the capital of Rioja. It is full of medieval history, but what makes it significant to the believer is that the most popular Camino saint made a miracle here. Stay tuned.
So we're crossing the river Ebro in Logroño, one of the most significant or important river in Spain. It's a wide river, like an island crosses it. So a lot of people. Not so clean, but the weather is a little cooler these days.
How do you find your way when you walk the Camino? Do you need a GPS all the time? Saint Francis of Assisi walked the Camino Frances in the 12th or 13th century. It's probably because Francis loves anything French, and he loves to be with nature. That's why he's the patron saint of hippies. I'm just kidding. He is the patron saint of ecologists. The story goes that he made a rest stop in Logroño, and when one of the nobles heard of the pious and holy future saint to be in the area, he went to see Francis. The noble asked Francis to pray over his son, who was gravely ill, and promised to build him a church if his boy gets healed. The boy was healed, and Saint Francis continued his Camino. But unlike you and me, who takes a plane, train, or bus to get back to our homes from Santiago, Saint Francis walked back from Santiago. On his way home, he saw the church being built when he stopped in Logroño.
Iglesia de Santiago. It's a beautiful church in Logroño. It's one of the most important churches in Logroño. It's built in the 16th century, so it's quite new in their standard.
You're still a good time, even in the cold. Get out the road, I told you. A car's coming, I stop you. You know I always got you. You know.
In a beautiful lake, just past Logroño, on the way to Navarette. Oh, it's beautiful. People are fishing. Oh, there's a Sunday. People are out. Car. There's a lot of carts here. Look at that. Pretty cool to see the looks there.
For 1200 years, people from all over the world found their way to Santiago. How? By asking the locals. Nowadays, though, it's the Yellow Arrow. In 1984, Padre Elias, who was the parish priest of Osobrero, engineered the greatest invasion of modern Camino pilgrims by painting on walls, lampposts, trees, a yellow arrow all over Spain that would direct pilgrims to the tomb of Santiago. The police were suspicious at first, but nowadays it's the Spanish government who helps by making the way of arrows. However, if you're really bad at direction and you don't speak Basque or Spanish, then you can use GPS. I'm just kidding. There's always someone who speaks English, no matter how small the town is in the Camino. But yeah, go ahead. Use the GPS if you really need it. We seldom do.
Navarette. About 2 kilometers away. Almost 2 miles from here. And it looks like we thought it's just a 14 mile. It's close to 18 miles. So this place here used to be a hospital for the pilgrims built by the Templars, or the Hospitallers. It's called the St. John of Acres, which is the last place, the last stand of the Christians in the Holy Land in the 12th century. So this is amazing.
Get out the road, I told you. A car's coming, I stop you. You know I always got you. You know I always got you. Push you to the side, even if it means that I die. I wouldn't hesitate about it, wouldn't even think about it. I know I really love you. Push you to the side, even if it means that I die.
Have patience with all things, but first of all, with yourself. Saint Francis de Sales.
In your hands, I guess we need a new plan. There's a motel mile down the road.
So we are at Ventosa. This is the cross right here. Ventosa, it says here for all those who died in the Camino. So that's Ventosa right there. And there's Eileen and Erin. Okay. I'll see you there. That's where I come from. There's a big highway. Let me see. It's vineyards and vineyards and vineyards and vineyards and vineyards.
This stage brings an interesting historical context. Before El Cid, who is Spain's national hero and perhaps the greatest knight in history, there was Charlemagne, the first Holy Roman Emperor. Depending on your sources, one can argue that his campaign was either a crusade against the Muslims or just an expansion of his empire. One thing is certain though, that he always sought the blessing of the Pope before every campaign. There was also evidence that the Christians of the 8th century northern Spain was asking help from him. So in essence, Charlemagne became part of the Reconquista without knowing it. However, today's story was not about Charlemagne, but about his best knight. Walk with us so I can tell you the story. When is the best time to walk the Camino?
Okay, so we are here in Nahira. This is the birthplace of kings of Pamplona for almost 200 years. So it's a mountain. It's a nice little small town. And there's a river through it. Some people are resting, some of the pilgrims. The Church of Santa Maria de Vial. Apparently, King Garcia, for some reason, lost his dog and found it here inside a cave where the Virgin Mary statue was. So, and they could not move the Virgin Mary, so they built this for him and the caves inside.
Just beyond Ventosa and in front of the medieval monastery and hospice of San Anton is a field where Roland defeated and killed Ferragut, the Muslim giant. Roland was Charlemagne's greatest knight. Ferragut has defeated and captured many of Charlemagne's knights. So Roland decided to fight him for all the marbles. They were so equally good and skilled in fighting that they got tired after fighting for many hours without a clear winner. So they decided to settle it by a good old debate regarding which religion is the true religion. During the discussion though, Ferragut accidentally revealed his weakness, which is his navel, for which Roland hit it when they resumed fighting.
In Azofra. It's a little village, really small. This is our first municipal albergue. It looks really nice. Azofra. Azofra is really extremely small. It's like a frontier town in Texas. It looks nice. 2 beds per room. That's really nice. Can't find it. Seldom find it.
Depending on which route you're gonna take in walking the Camino, you can make a research on the average temperature of certain localities of where you're gonna walk. However, I noticed that walking the Camino Frances and Camino Portugues is best for us during what we call shoulder months. We always consider fall and spring to have the best balance in terms of temperature and rainfall in considering to walk the Camino. We decided to spend the night in the town of Azofra. Azofra has only one municipal albergue where all the pilgrims stayed. Pia, a Korean friend from the first stage, cooked for us, where eventually we had our first community meal together with people from all over the world. Koreans, Australians, Japanese, Kiwis, Thais, French all shared the banquet of the Lord. Breaking bread in the Camino indeed has a way of bringing people together. Nothing great is ever achieved without much enduring. Saint Catherine of Siena.
So today, I don't know what day it is today. We traveled from Forza. It's a beautiful day. It's just that this one is uphill, going to Santo Domingo de la Calzada. This is, I forgot what's the name, that's Circuit something. It's a beautiful place, little thing, looks like it's really rich. They have own pool, so, but it looks very empty, like a ghost town. If it was a golf course, a lot of people are playing golf.
Many people who walk the Camino may not know and not have thought the impact and importance of the saints in developing the way to Santiago. Some of the things they did is incredible, but if we realize that they did this so others can walk the Camino, including us, then maybe we need to tell their story. Venga! What is our daily budget?
So we are in Santo Domingo. It's a beautiful old city named after a very famous saint of the Camino who helped a lot of people in the Camino. Santo Domingo. We're approaching here. It seems like, I don't know, everything is closed. I'm very hungry. I'm dizzy. We just walked 15 kilometers straight without stopping. I'm dizzy. So I'll see if I can find any food here. Hopefully. So apparently this is where Saint Dominic of Villafranca, one of the most influential saints of the Camino, is buried. His tomb is inside his cathedral. It's very historic and also very important in the life of the Camino.
Upon entering the historical Santo Domingo del Calza, you would notice that it would not give you an impression it is one of the most important towns in the Camino Frances. Santo Domingo is named after Saint Dominic, who was born in the nearby village of Villoria. He studied in the monastery of San Milan and Abbadia di Valvanera. However, he was not allowed to continue due to poor grades. This did not discourage him, though, from helping others, especially the pilgrims on the way to Santiago. He built a bridge on the river Oja, a pilgrims' hospital, and a hostel that later became a parador. I might go ahead and call Santo Domingo de la Calzada the Mother Teresa of the Camino. He once single-handedly cleared a 37-kilometer Camino trail between Nájera and Redecilla. He cleared this trail through the forest that many believe was only possible through the help of angels.
So this bridge was built by Saint Dominic himself more than 1,000 years ago. It was rebuilt and modernized and what have you, but he was the one responsible for having this built. Now there's no water. Look at that, no water. It's a beautiful bridge. We're in Granion. This is their church. Very sleepy town too. We'll try to get in there.
Our daily budget in 2017 is this. Meals and snack is around 25 euros. A bed on the albergue around 10 to 15 euros. But if we want private room, then it's up to about 25 euros a night. So our budget is around 40 euros to 50 euros per person. So welcome to downtown Redecilla. So these are my friends who like to hang out in the downtown area. So kanami. Whenever I look back to this day, my heart aches as I see my wife struggling through her walk because of her blisters. Redecilla was a tiny village along the Camino where we found a donativo refugio run and owned by Jose, who was obviously very religious. We were welcomed by many religious books and Bibles written in various languages on his table. He cooked for us a good meal and played his harmonica to entertain us. We ended the day with another communal dinner shared between Moy, Kanami, Brent, Duen, and my wife Eileen and myself. The geographical pilgrimage is the symbolic acting out an inner journey. The inner journey is the interpolation of the meanings and signs of the outer pilgrimage. One can have one without the other. It is best to have both. Thomas Merton. One of the things that shocks Americans when they go to Europe is how young USA is. In Europe, they would call a 500-year-old church nuevo, meaning new. That's older than the USA as a country in itself. So when the holy images of both the Santo Niño of Cebu and Infant Child Jesus of Prague is being argued as to which is older, we found out that this stage wipes the floor for both of them. What do I mean? Vamos! Where do we sleep in the Camino? The town of Dos Santos has an image of the child Jesus similar to Santo Niño, or Infant Child Jesus of Prague, hidden under a bell since the year 712 to protect it from the Muslim invaders inside the Hermitage de Nuestra Señora de la Peña Church, which is built into the face of a rock. There are 4 types of accommodation or way of sleeping in the Camino. The first one is the popular one, which is the albergue. They are pilgrim hostels provided by the local government or by the local parish church. Most sleeping quarters are dormitory style. Some have private rooms, which is more expensive than the dormitories. Because of course, you get privacy. The second most popular are the hostels or pension. These are mostly privately owned and a lot nicer. The third are refugios. They're mostly owned by ordinary folks who just want to help the pilgrims. Thus, it's usually by donation or donativo only. They are more likely to be a bit Spartan than an albergue. The last one is camping or boondocking. I believe there are designated campsites in the Camino, but I have not done enough research about it. My turning point was my pilgrimage to Santiago de Compostela. It was then that I, who had dedicated most of my life to penetrate the secrets of the universe, realized that there are no secrets. Life is and will always be a mystery. Paulo Coelho. Sometimes we just have to admit our limitations. This day turned out to be short, but it did not disappoint when it comes to being a real pilgrimage destination. Vamos! How do we train for the Camino?
We're in Sanjuandeortega, where Saint John of Ortega is a disciple of Saint Dominic of Villafranca, and he actually helped in a lot of ways building the route of the Camino and helping the pilgrims and after that. So there's actually a monastery inside this, an albergue. Unfortunately, we would not be able to know the extent of the strictness of the nuns as we were told. But it would have been really cool.
We just walked 12 kilometers of purely forest to Sanjuandeortega. For some reason, I could not shake off an eerie feeling while walking through a dark forest. So I did it very fast. Dead wrong, my wife suffered through her blisters and had so much pain. However, my suspicion was not wrong. The forest was the site of many battles all throughout history, but the soil was darkened with blood. Yet, we decided to take a taxi to Burgos when we reached Sanjuandeortega, but not before praying inside one of the most amazing nondescript churches in the Camino Frances. Sanjuandeortega was an Augustinian monk who was a follower of Santo Domingo de la Calzada. Like Saint Dominic, he cleared the dangerous path between Montesdeoca and Sanjuandeortega. He also built infrastructures to help pilgrims. Sanjuandeortega is the patron saint of children, hospice keepers, and barren women. One time, a swarm of white bees flew out of his tomb. Most people interpreted this as the souls of the unborn children, which the saint was keeping safe pending incarnation in faithful women. This story was given credence when Queen Isabella la Católica visited the monastery in the 15th century after 7 years of childless marriage. The queen took the arm of the monastery's crucifix after perhaps praying. Her son Juan was born thereafter. The Church of San Nicolas of Bari, now the Church of Sanjuandeortega, where the relic of the saint is, was rebuilt luxuriously in the order of the Queen Isabel in gratitude. There were 114 officially recognized miracles attributed to either Sanjuandeortega or San Nicolas de Bari. One of the architectural feats done in this church is that every March 21st and September 22nd, the Virgin Mary's belly inside is highlighted by the sunlight, while the rest of the church is dark.
You are here, home of El Cid, Burgos, the national hero of Spain. This is the cathedral, and it's beautiful.
Since you have been watching up to this point of the video, you might have done some research on your own on how to train walking the Camino. How we do it is based on a lot of mixed researches of the sports science aspect of walking long distances and our very own experiences in hiking and walking 2 Caminos already. We usually would walk every weekend just to make sure our legs are still there for the Camino. But 3 to 4 months before a Camino, but just 2 weeks before our actual Camino, we would do a 50, 70, 80 rule for our weekends. This means we target 50% of our daily target walking distance every weekend for the first month, and then 70% in the second month, and 80% in the last month. As an example, say for example our target is 14 miles in the first month. Our weekend goal training is to walk a total of 7 miles, and if possible with elevation gain and loss. On the second month, our weekend goal is to walk a total of 10 miles, which is 70%, and if possible with elevation gain and loss. On the last month, our weekend goal training is to walk a total of 11 miles, which is equivalent to 80% of 14, and if possible, of course, with elevation gain and loss. Aside from that, we still walk 4 to 5 miles 3 to 4 times a week on weekdays. Aside from walking every weekend. This being said, our experiences still tell us that we're still in shock on how difficult walking the actual Camino is, even if we train very hard before the Camino. So I believe training does help in a way, but it still is very dependent on each individual's physical condition. So my recommendation is to consult with your own physician or certified trainers just to be safe, on the safe side. Or, please feel free to share your own Camino training experiences in the comments below. Thank you. I feel a complete protection on my pilgrimage. God is my shield. There are no accidents in the divine plan, nor does God leave us unattended. No one walks so safely as those who walk humbly and harmlessly with great love and great faith. Peace, Pilgrim.